Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Adventures of Adam. I'm Adam, let's adventure, and welcome to the free-to-play Rares Only Plus Challenge. On this account, I've been progressing through the game using champions who are rare, uncommon, or common, plus any champion who is free and permanently available to all players. With all that out of the way, let's dive in. We're on day 255, and we're exactly 15 days away from Vizix the Unbound, and she is going to be massive for progressing in Doom Tower Hard. But today's video is not about Vizix. Today's video is about Yannica, and I have been extremely impressed with her on this account so far. Up until now, the only attack-based damage dealer I've really had access to has been Dark Elhain, and don't get me wrong, Dark Elhain has been great, but Yannica is just a little bit better. Let's find out why. First, let's take a look at her build. So I've got her in 2 pieces of Cruel Gear, 4 pieces of Savage, and 1 piece of Slayer. And I found out that when you take the Lore of Steel Mastery, even if you just have this 1 piece of Slayer gear, it still counts as a set bonus, and it gives you an additional crit rate. So with Lore of Steel and Slayer, I actually get 6% crit. So you'll see she's actually a little bit over, with a grand total of 102% crit rate. But we've got 4,556 attack, 213 speed, and 230 crit damage. Her accuracy is a little low for most content, but for what I'm about to showcase here, it's actually plenty. So her accuracy is at 132, which as it turns out is enough for Minotaur 15. And that's the #1 place I've been using her. We're using her in a couple other areas as well. I'll showcase her in Fire Knight too. But I just want to show you Minotaur first. Now, before Yannica, it would take me about 2.5 minutes to farm Minotaur with Drexthar. And he could do it, but it wasn't very fast. So I'm going to put Ashwalker in here. I'll talk about Doomscreech, Ashwalker, and Marquess in a minute. That's a whole extra topic. But I just want to show you what she can do. So if you don't have a champion who can speed farm Minotaur for you, I would highly recommend going for Yannica. This is such a huge quality of life. Just being able to speed farm Minotaur. Just ruthless attacks. So 27 seconds, not bad. It's insane how big a quality of life this is. Also, we've been using her in Fire Knight. So before I had Yannica on this team, my team was actually Yakarl the Scourge here, because I didn't have enough damage to power through the waves quickly enough, so I'd have to use the crowd control from Yakarl the Scourge to do the trick. But now we have Yannica, and we don't need crowd control, we can just blast through. So bringing Yannica into this team probably shaved off about 45 seconds per run in Fire Knight 20. And this is where I farm. I usually only farm on stage 20 just to make completing the tournaments more efficient, so I could complete them with less energy spent. So in a perfect world, War Maiden will get to go a 3rd time on that first wave. There she did not. If War Maiden gets a 3rd turn on the first wave, it means she gets to open with her AoE decreased defense like she just did there. So this wasn't the perfect run, but I did some things that most people would find objectionable to Yannica's masteries for the sake of increasing the consistency of this. We'll go over her masteries next. And also, I have Soulbond Bowyer open with her turn meter reduction into the shield, so that her turn meter reduction and Coldheart's turn meter reduction are staggered. So there was the Heartseeker from Coldheart. The whole run got thrown off out of whack a little bit because of the timing of the decreased defense. Normally, War Maiden gets an extra turn in there. Not sure what affects it, but... And there was her turn meter reduction again, keeping the Fire Knight from taking a turn. We're just blasting through. So 1:22. Obviously, you can see my best time is 1 minute and 5 seconds. It really makes a big difference. I'm going to try one more time. I want to see if I can... She's just smoking these fools. And I turned off Soulbond Bowyer's A1. Or I didn't turn it off. I kindly requested that she does not use her A1. There's still some minor tweaks I can make to increase the consistency of this. I think I need to make sure that Arbiter has her A2 set to open or don't use, so we have increased attack going into the second wave. So there's still a few minor tweaks I need to make for optimization to maximize the consistency of what we're doing here. But for the most part, I've got it down. Bam. So that was a little bit faster. I've got some additional AI setup adjustments to make, but I won't waste any more of your time. But man, just that alone has been huge. So for Yannica's masteries, the thing that I did that I feel like most people would find objectionable is I got rid of Helm Smasher in favor of Flawless Execution. The reason for this is sometimes when I was doing my Fire Knight 20 runs, she would get Helm Smasher on too many of the enemies and kill the first wave before War Maiden would have a chance to take a third turn, and therefore it would actually slow down my runs because War Maiden wouldn't be able to open with her AoE decreased defense on the second wave. So by taking out Helm Smasher and replacing it with Flawless Execution, this gives me less RNG spike potential to get big hits. Gives her a more even keeled damage output for the sake of consistency and just making my runs more consistent and faster. So if Arena was the only place I used her in, I would keep Helm Smasher 100%. But because she's sort of a jack of all trades AoE damage dealer for me, and I need that consistency to increase I just need a steady, consistent damage to increase the consistency in which I could farm stage 20 of Fire Knight really fast. So that's why I've taken Flawless Execution here. And the record speed run that you saw 1 minute and 5 seconds, that was obtained with this Flawless Execution mastery. So it just helps eliminate a little bit of bad RNG and just makes my runs more consistent. I need to do a few more things with the AI setup with Arbiter, and as we saw earlier, but once I get all the kinks worked out, well, I'm really hoping that we'll have really good, clean, consistent runs. For Classic Arena, she's just been pretty, she's been great. The Arena reset was last night, just before I went to bed. So I set a full team. So my full team was Arbiter, Archmage Helmet, War Maiden, Yannica. So that was my defense that I set. Let's see if we can still see a few of them have fallen off, but I woke up to like 8 victories on defense. Like, look at these teams. How the hell did I beat this level 100 player with this lineup? How did I beat this level 96 player twice with this line? Like, it's kind of crazy. Really good in Arena, really good in Minotaur, really good in Fire Knight. Oh, man. She's just been really good, honestly. Like, the fact that let's take a look at her kit and everything she does. Let's take a look at her damage multipliers. So it attacks one enemy 2 times, and each hit has a chance of placing Leech for 2 turns. She will attack all enemies 2 times instead if this champion is under a Veil buff, which she gains from her A2. So the first hit is a 1.9 times attack multiplier, and the second hit is a 1.5 times attack multiplier. It's just average damage, but it's an AoE A1. So it's pretty handy. But this is the most important skill in her kit. Attacks one enemy, places perfect Veil buff on this champion for 3 turns if this attack is critical. Grants an extra turn. It's on a 3-turn cooldown when booked. Grants an extra turn, so making it effectively a 2-turn cooldown. And it has a 6.3 times attack multiplier. It's a godlike damage, single target damage skill. And then she grants an extra turn, and because she's now under perfect Veil, her A1 is an AoE. So she has an AoE on the A1 with average damage, and she has a AoE on the A3 with strong damage. She has a strong AoE on the A3 and an average AoE on the A1. So effectively 2 AoEs with a big single target damage dealing skill intermittently in between that grants an extra turn. So she's effectively just doing an AoE every time she attacks, which makes her really good for wave-based content, really. Like, this is why she's able to solo Minotaur. Also, the Leech buff that she places on her A1 on the Minotaur gives her enough healing so she doesn't die. So between the leech and the fact that she's just spamming AoEs constantly is how she's able to solo Minotaur. It's why she's so good for Fire Knight 20. She's just great. She's been huge for my account, and I'm so even if the only place I was able to use her was Minotaur, I would be perfectly content with the investment simply because I can do Minotaur in like 30 seconds now instead of 2 minutes and 30 seconds. That alone has made it 100% worth it. Massive quality of life. Not only that, but I was lacking a good damage dealer for my High Elf Faction Wars team, which is not open, obviously. Or I'd show you guys. Like, due to the restrictions of my challenge, the only other good damage dealer option I was going to have available to me on this account was Elhain. Which, who would have been fine, but I didn't bother building her because I knew I was going to get Yannica. So, in other news, I have been made aware that they have been rotating through the epics required for this Lady Mikage fusion pretty regularly as guaranteed epic events. Unfortunately, while I was on hiatus from the game, they did one for Ulfrig, so I missed that one. But they have not yet done one for Enda Moonbeam. So what I'm doing now is I am waiting patiently, and I'm saving my shards for when they do another guaranteed event for Enda Moonbeam. And if they are kind enough, if they decide they want to pull the dagger out just a little bit and be nice, if they decide to just cycle through these regularly, like once they get to the last one, start back at the top and go down the list again, just constantly cycle through these, that would be huge, and that would be a really cool thing for them to do. I don't know if they are going to do it. As far as I know, they have not announced that they're going to do it. All I can do is hope. Otherwise, I'm going to have to wait for like a progressive epic event or something to try to get where Ulfrig appears, or one of these Prism Shard events. So every time there's a Prism Shard event, I look at the epics to see if Ulfrig is in here, or if one of the legendaries that I need is in here. And if it is, then I try to do whatever I can to obtain the Prism Shards. So it's at this point, I feel like it's only a matter of time before I'm able to obtain Lady Mikage, and that will be big for my clan boss team. Lady Mikage would be able to replace Hellborn Sprite as my buff extender. And because she also reduces the duration of all ally debuffs when she does this, it's possible that I could come up with some sort of speed tune that uses her at the top of the turn order to cleanse the stun. Which means I wouldn't necessarily... it could be possible that she makes the team affinity friendly as well, since she reduces the duration of the decreased speed debuff by 1 turn. It would take some clan boss calculator kung fu, but I think I'm up to the task. And if once I get the champions to acquire her, I will start looking into making a new speed tune for my account. But not only does she does the buff extension and the debuff reduction, she also does increased attack and increased crit damage with an ally attack. That's going to be so much more damage. Like, I'm super excited for Lady Mikage. And then once I get her, and once I get Dark Kale, and once I get Rosin, I might be able to 2-key Ultra Nightmare, guys. So, speaking of Dark Kale, we are working diligently towards clearing out whatever secret rooms we can, and we're 68 out of 100 towards Akoth the Seared. Also, we're at 70 for Mithrala, 21 for Thea the Tomb Angel, 6 for Empress, and that's just about it. So yeah, we're making progress on Doom Tower secret rooms. I was kind of disappointed because we ran into one that I literally will never be able to do on this account ever. On normal. It was like Epic Orc. No, I'll be able to do this one eventually. I got Haikatoon and I've got Jizzo and Grush. I think with the heals, the tankiness, the speed manipulation, I might be able to 3-man this with this squad if I just build them well enough. So I might be able to get this one done eventually. And these are all champions I'll likely be using for Faction Wars. I mean, I do use Haikatoon in Faction Wars already, but these two I will likely end up using in Faction Wars anyway, so it's just sort of a win-win. But yeah, we're blasting on these secret rooms. Like, cleared 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is epic orc. Like, there's literally none. Like, the only one who I would consider to fall within the parameters of my challenge is shaman, and I never got shaman on this account. So, yeah, I'm just kind of hosed. So this one is I just literally won't ever be able to do. And this is the one, the Spirit Epics, which I can do eventually, and then it's just been clearing out the rest of them. So I'm just hard focusing these secret rooms to try to get Dark Kale as fast as possible. Another bright side is Akoth the Seared will potentially unlock my ability to formulate another Hydra team. So that's entirely possible. I'll be able to get chests from 2 Hydra difficulties each week rather than just 1. Fingers crossed. It's going to take a lot more work than just Akoth the Seared. I'm going to have to put my thinking cap on and buckle down. But let's talk about this Go Second team I mentioned briefly at the top of the stream. So basically what I'm looking at doing is taking Doomscreech here. When he's level 60, his base HP is 20,000. So what I've done is effectively got him in the fastest shield set I could muster. So that's 238 speed there. And then there was a banner that was really fast. This one. So another 16 speed. So it's 254 speed, which is not bad for a turn meter booster for a Go Second team. So he's going to be in a shield set. And then I will likely also build Ashwalker in a shield set. And then I've even got a nuking shield set, so she's got 104% crit rate. Crit damage is not as high as it will be once she's got her amulet and stuff. But the reason why I'm going to use Marquess in tandem with Doomscreech and Ashwalker is because of this ability on Marquess right here. It's called Crush the Weak. Attacks all enemies, has a 35% chance of placing a 15% weaken debuff for 2 turns. Deals extra damage to enemies with weaken debuff. Now, she only has, like a 50% chance to place the weaken herself. That's why we bring in Ashwalker. He's Void Affinity, and he has a 100% chance to place the weaken debuff. So she's going to come in, and Ashwalker will be speed-tuned to be faster than Marquess. So he places the weaken before she can go. And then when Marquess attacks, she will hit for 4.6 times defense for the first hit, and then everyone who's under weaken will get hit with an additional attack that attacks for 3 times defense. So this is a 7.6 times defense damage multiplier. And because we're using Doomscreech as our turn meter booster, he's going to give Marquess a 60% increased defense buff. This skill will smack. Like, this is the highest damage multiplier defense-based AoE damage skill in the game. So what we're doing now is building an entire team around that. I might not end up building her in a shield set. I'm going to do whatever set I can build her in that will give her the most damage possible. But I do need a means of surviving long enough so that she doesn't die, that I can actually go first. Or not go first, but she actually gets a turn. So I'm building champions and shield sets to soak damage incoming onto her so she could live. Then Doomscreech will do the turn meter boost and increase defense. Ashwalker will go and do the AoE weaken. I'll either have War Maiden or Bellower built to do decreased defense, and then Marquess will come in with the nuke. And I'll probably also include someone else to try to be like ban bait on this team. Probably Arbiter. So Arbiter always gets banned. So, but it is possible that my opponents could ban Marquess if they realize that she's the only damage dealer. So I'll have to make sure that I also build Ashwalker in a damage build, sort of like a 2-for-1. I don't know. There's some strategizing that will need to occur for this team to work. But that's the general idea. Maybe instead of War Maiden, I don't know, I bring someone else. I don't know. Well, there's details to be worked out, but those are problems for another day. For right now, the core, the soul of that team is going to be Doomscreech, Marquess, and Ashwalker. I'm going to have to figure out what the other 2 champions are. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But this is the core team. So that's what I'm working on now. I'm really excited to try this out. This is something I've been wanting to try for a really long time, and it's finally coming to fruition. So this is really exciting. So yeah, it's huge. It's huge. Also, in regards to tournaments and events, I'm doing what I can to try to get this legendary artifact. Also, this legendary book is cool. This superior oil, like all this stuff is good. I need this chaos dust pretty badly, so I'm gonna try to obtain this artifact from the Titan event. But I've basically finished Dungeon Divers. I've gotten. I wouldn't mind picking up these relic crafting materials as well. I still have 1 day and 3 hours left to do that. I'll probably get that done today. So Dungeon Divers is looking good. We finished the gear enhancement because I was doing a gear cleanse and I just had millions and millions of silver. And then for tournaments, I'm probably not going to stay in. Oh, I'm in second place. You can't really see. But I finished this tournament and now I'm focusing on champion training because there is a mythic skill tome at 12,550 points. I'm at 8,200. So as soon as this video is done, I'm going to buckle down and put my pedal to the metal and try to get that mythic skill tome because we are closing in on Lady Mikage. So I would really like to get her A3 booked to reduce the cooldown of the ally attack. That would be swell. But what can you do? I've only got 2 mythical skill tomes at the moment. We got 21 legendary, 57 epic, and 11 rare. So doing my best. Just hanging in there, man. I'm having a blast. I'm having fun playing Raid for the first time in a really long time. Just getting Yannica maxed out really lifted my spirits. It was really fun and just such a relief to finally have a fast Minotaur farmer, dude. Like it's such a massive quality of life. But anyway, I think that's gonna do it for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully, I will see you all in another video soon. But until next time, everyone, happy raiding.